Science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.
Evidence is evidence. It's public. Everybody can look at the evidence and assess it, and eventually, if there's enough evidence, come to the same conclusion.
For newcomers and old-timers alike, the Chloe Sanctuary hopes to give you insight into the health and happiness of your companion parrots. We hope to help you build happy homes using reliable and proven tools. The best homes are built on a rock-solid foundation. And the best foundation for a happy home is the bedrock of science. When we stand on the shoulders of giants, the scientists who have worked long and diligently to understand our companions, we can reach new heights of understanding. And understanding is the key to success.
I think treated, most of these birds have a good prognosis, and I would say
What does avian veterinary medicine have to tell us about our feathered friends? How can we prevent illness, see the signs of disease before it's too late, and care for our birds through ill health? What light does behavioral science shed on their nature, needs, and hopes? How can the tools of behavior shaping make our homes happier for us and our companions?
Shake.
How can we deal with biting, screaming, or other misbehavior? What is it like to live among parrots? Let them roam around about you and share a life with them. How much freedom do you give them? What happens if you form a bond of trust with them? Watch and see what understanding their true nature can do for you. Come with us on a journey as we do more than examine a parrot's world. We live in it. Make some popcorn and bring in a few wood blocks. Let everyone have something to chew and a comfortable place to perch. Cockatude is a presentation of the Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos, a nonprofit charity dedicated to the empowerment of captive parrots and public awareness.
I'd like to do a big shout out to those people who make this video cast possible. Cockatude would not be possible without our patrons. Thank you to those of you who make one-time donations. Without these patrons giving us of their hard-earned cash, we couldn't continue doing this podcast. I'd like to urge you to please give us at least $1 per episode. We do 2 episodes a month. We'd like to do more, but in order to do that, we have to have the time. And right now I'm spending a lot of time trying to beat the bushes for the Chloe Sanctuary. It's not easy taking care of birds that are severely damaged, both emotionally and physically. So please, I urge you, become one of our patrons. And I'm sure that Peaches would thank all of our patrons in person if she got the chance. We try to answer questions from our viewers as we can. If you are a patron, be sure to email us at patron@chloesanctuary.org, and your questions will take precedence. We always put our patrons first because they put us first. Hi, and welcome to Cockatude. Cockatoos with Attitude, episode 68. Flock dynamics. Who does what to whom and when? Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, kid? Today we have with us Causey and Lucy and Pippa. Nice going, Pippa. And Coco and Sugarbird and Lorelei and Salamander and Peaches. Peaches, yeah. So one of our patrons asked if I could do a video on the flock dynamics. You know, what each bird's role is in the flock and how they react to each other. That's kind of a big job. But here, Lucy, want to sit up here? Okay. See if I can find the chart. So I have a chart. I'm going to be referring to it because I got to make sure I cover every bird. So. Refer to this relationship chart as I go along if they don't eat it. Right, Coco? Oh, you're looking at it like, oh, something to eat. Probably best we don't have Cecil in here, because if he sees me pull out a piece of paper, and that's the end of it, you know, that's it. That's the only thing he's going to focus on is that piece of paper. Now, the reason Bob isn't in here right now is because, you know, as you know, he has a problem with a prolapse. He has been stitched up, and it hasn't started falling out yet, so he doesn't have to go back. But the problem is he's just intense. His personality seems a little strained right now, kind of like his pooping is. So I think he's trying to hold it longer. And as Aldous Huxley said in a book, I don't know how many people have read this, but I think it's an excellent book on relationships and people. It's called Eyeless in Gaza. Again, that's by Aldous Huxley. And one of the themes of the book is that the majority of problems in the world are due to bad digestion. Or Pippa. Pippa could be part of the problem, right, Pippa? Well, come here, Pip. No, you're not going over there. Come here, Pippa. Come on. No, you're not going over there. Pippa, no! Darn it. No! What part of no don't you understand? You're not going on the chair. Come here. Come here, Pip. No. Ow! She's got one nail. Ow! I missed when I was... Ow! Yes. But that nail really hurts when it goes right in under the minor. There you go. Ouch. Ouch. And you don't need to go over there and check out the cameras. Coco, what do you have to say? Now you're going to be hearing Bob screaming in the background. Yes, Coco. This is one of the problems. Yes, Coco Bird. Yes, Coco. This is one of the problems we're having with Bob right now, is that he's just uncomfortable. And when Coco, I'm going to bring you over here if you can't stop it. Coco. Coco. Good girl. Thank you. One of the problems with his physical condition is that when you put him in a cage now, he just screams. And he'll do that for an hour or whatever, but as soon as he's out, he plays. He's a little too rough. If I had him out right now, what would happen? So we'll start by talking about Bob, and he's the top on my list anyway. If he's out, he'll start running back and forth behind my head. And then if I get him down here and I get him to calm down, then he'll pull the hairs on my arm. He'll constantly try to get my attention, and that's understandable in his physical condition. I don't have a problem with that when I'm not doing a video. But when I'm doing a video, he would distract me to the point I wouldn't be able to do it. So he'll be out later, and he'll get his full time out today. But he just can't have it right now. You will hear him crying in the background, and he's been doing this for the last couple of weeks now. And it's a physical issue. We're considering different kinds of psychotherapeutic drugs for him, but we haven't landed on the right one yet. I think the next try is going to be Valium. We've tried Xanax and that didn't help, so maybe Valium or another Paxil or something like that. But we'll see. So anyway, Bob's flock roll, and I'm just looking at my little sheet here to make sure I don't miss anything. His flock roll, I call him the room monitor. He's also called Sir Lancelot for a couple of reasons. Sir Lancelot was dedicated to good and protection and taking care of Guinevere. That's what his whole thing was. Well, Bob's like that with me. But as far as ranting a lot, he does. He gets involved in every relationship. He gets involved in everything that's going on. Hi, Peach. Well, why don't you come over here, Peach? Well, come on. Well, that's a girl. Up here. Okay, that's a girl. That's a girl. So he gets involved in everything. So, let's see. Cecil. Bob and Cecil get along. They preen each other. The issue they have is over here. This is Bob's little territory, and Cecil will get in there, and then Bob will keep trying to get him out of there and biting his tail and trying to get in fights with him. It is ignorance of Bob's nature that turned Babaloo into a living gargoyle. Bob's would-be parents made a hasty choice and found themselves in living hell, torn between guilt and frustration. I have seen the joy in Babaloo's eyes now that he has a new life with me as his companion. To see Babaloo love and trust again is worth the effort of a lifetime. But, once again, Bob is heading toward the pain of separation. My heart nearly broke the day I discovered that he was heading toward a cloacal prolapse, that his life will be cut short. To find love and acceptance and then have it stolen away from you by failing health is too much to bear. We can slow the progress of his failing health, but we can't stop it. He will need several surgeries, and eventually Babaloo will die. We want to give him the best possible life until that day. His surgeries will become progressively more expensive over time. Won't you please lend Babaloo a hand and donate to his medical fund today? Our donation button is on our webpage at www.chloesanctuary.org. Just be sure to say, "For Bob," in the notes when you donate. Just to get him out of his territory. Okay, it's just a territoriality. But they do get along most of the time. If Cecil has a toy, Bob's always trying to take it. So my job is to try to make Bob realize that that's not his toy and he can't have it. I never fully succeed with that, but I do keep some distance between them so they don't get too rough with each other. Bob and Chloe? No. Bob wouldn't even allow her in the room before. Now what's happening is she can be in the room, she can even be in the perch right in front of the couch. That's not a problem. But if she comes down on the couch, he's gonna get rid of her. What he tries to do is to catch me when I'm not paying attention and slowly sneak his way down to the bottom of my foot and onto the little ottoman here, which is all chewed up. He'll try to sneak on there, and then her perch will be up here, so he'll try to either fly directly up to the perch to scare her off the perch where he can chase her, or no, you don't need to eat the paper. You don't need to eat the paper, cause. So he'll try to do that. He's always watching to see what she's going to do, and if she moves, well, he's following every move she makes. Chloe used to have a problem with Bob, and she would bother him. She doesn't do that anymore. She just tries to stay out of his way. So she's okay with him being around, but he's not okay with her being around. As far as Cause, when Cause was here with Bob the first couple of weeks, Cause actually ran to Bob. Bob tried to get away. Cause managed to get Bob. Now here's this little Cause going against Big Bob. Got Cause on his back, put her foot on his neck, and held him down. And he was horrified. I had to separate them. This all happened in seconds, right? Cause never hurt him, but she got him on his back. So for a long time, you couldn't have Cause anywhere near Bob. Now Bob pretty much ignores Cause. And it's the same with Cause. Cause doesn't pay any attention to him. So they have a stalemate relationship. Bob and Lorelei, they get along okay. Actually, Lorelei taught Bob how to preen, because when Bob came here, he wasn't preening anything at all, anybody. Now Bob actually preens, and it was Lorelei who's our official preener. You know, she's the one that teaches everybody how to preen. If they're not into preening, right, Lorelei? If they're not into preening, Lorelei is going to find a way for them to be into preening. So they get along fine. Bob and Lucy, they haven't investigated each other much, and there's not much of a relationship there at all. He sort of ignores her, and she'll hiss at him and open her beak like she does with most other birds if he gets too close, but that's within like 12 inches of her, and that doesn't happen very often. Bob and Peaches, most of the time that's okay, but there is a little aggression between Bob and Peaches because Peaches does get a lot of attention. Bob gets a lot of attention too, but he doesn't like me giving so much attention to any bird. That's probably why he gets territorial. So I have to keep an eye on him. For example, when we're leaving, taking all the birds out of here, I will throw this blanket over Bob so that he won't attack Peaches and he won't go after Chloe if Chloe's in the room. And the reason Chloe isn't in the room is because Cause is in here. And also because Pippa's in here. So Pippa and Chloe don't get along. And Pippa doesn't really have a problem with Chloe, but Chloe has a problem with Pippa, so. Bob and Roman, there's nothing there. Rome doesn't bother him, and he doesn't bother Rome. And they've not been close to each other much. Rome doesn't like to get near other birds. And he's doing fine. Roman's problems are over. We'll talk about him later. So there's not much there. There's certainly no aggression and no territoriality that you can see. Bob and Sal, there used to be some problems between. Bob would try to keep Sal away from me, but he doesn't do that anymore. He's attentive when Sal comes around. He's watching him, and I keep an eye on him just in case he might decide he's going to go after Sal. A couple of times it's looked like it, and I've had to distract him, but generally they get along fine. Now they haven't always been that way. Like I say, in the beginning, Bob didn't really want Sal around, but there's no problem now. There's little problem now. Bob and Snowball. When Bob first sees Snowball, there's an issue. There's a little bit of trouble between the two of them. But after they've been in the room for 10 or 15 minutes, they pretty much ignore each other. And Bob and Sugar. Well, he pretty much ignores Sugar. So, and Sugar has no problem with Bob unless he gets within her 1 foot diameter around her body. Then she'll fluff her feathers on her head a little bit and lean towards him, and that's enough to tell him to go. I'm gonna go away now, Bob says. So Bob's primary reinforcer, he likes peanut butter. That's the number one thing he's gonna go for. The next thing in line would be he loves artichokes with a little bit of mayonnaise on them. So you give it, and he especially likes the heart. And I've got to tell you, I'm an artichoke aficionado. I have been since I was a kid. And the idea that would I give the entire heart of an artichoke to a bird was probably not something I would have believed that I could do. What are you doing? Cause? You're just sitting up there? Okay, we'll be good. Secondary reinforcer, he loves to be told that he's a good boy. That's the main thing you can do is say, Bob's a good boy. To pet him on the head and talk to him nice, that's it. The secondary reinforcers that work best. So Bob's a good boy or Bob's a good bird, he likes to hear those. You have to be careful you don't pet him too much. He doesn't really have any kind of relationship with other birds. He wants one. So Bob wants a relationship with Pippa, but Pippa's having none of it. She more or less pushes most birds away, but with him, he's insistent on her. She actually pushes him away early on, so... Now it's Cecil and Chloe. They're trying to strike up a relationship, so I have to keep them separated. And it's not so much that Chloe's trying to get a relationship with him, it's Cecil's trying to do it, okay? And, hi baby, you got another song for me? Come on, another verse? Go ahead and sing, sweetie. Peachy girl. Uh-oh, yeah. Come on, guys, I gotta go over here for a second. This is turned where it's kind of blocked. Sorry. I gotta get it turned where it doesn't block the cameras. Don't get under me, sweetheart. Okay. So Cecil will try to sneak up to be with her. And he's pretty good at sneaking around, too, so... He does the reverse fireman thing. He climbs up these poles easily. So he'll climb up a pole to get to Chloe. And so I have to separate them off from there. But they'll be in the same room as long as I keep a good watch on them. I don't have to worry about anything happening. I just keep my eye on them. So Cecil and Coco. Anytime Cecil's around a female, he's going to show some interest. He's done it with Sugar and every other bird here, so I have to make sure that he and Coco don't sit on the same perch, and I have to keep them separated. But they get along fine. I mean, they're okay sometimes just sitting and preening. You just have to be right there with them. If they're on your lap, you can do that, but you don't want to have them off the perch doing that. Cecil and Cause, there's a little tension there. Cause has chased Cecil a couple of times. Gone after him. Cecil is more defensive. He doesn't tend to run away if you chase him. So that's a dangerous situation to have going on because Cause might get hurt. Oh, Coco bird. So with those two, I try not to have them in the room at the same time. So they're in a different group. They don't come out at the same time. Right, Cause? Cecil and Lorelei. Well, that's another one. You got to keep them separated. They get along. And the nice thing about Lorelei is I can tell her to stop and she'll fly away from him. Right, Lorelei? Cecil and Lucy, they don't have anything going on. They haven't even really tried to strike up a relationship, a friendship, or anything at this point. Lucy is kind of standoffish. So Cecil has approached her and looked at her. She gives him signals basically saying stay away, and he does. So that's no big deal. Cecil and Peaches, they have an interesting relationship. They're in cages next to each other in the main bird room, so they spend a lot of time just looking at each other and talking back and forth. I mean it. They vocalize back and forth. I often say they're trying to plan to take over the world. And when you look at them, it works that way too. And if you go to take Peaches out of her cage when she's in a position on the side of her cage sitting next to Cecil and he's there, she'll generally just turn away from you because she wants to stay talking to Cecil. And they do a lot of body language talk. They have a friendship. There's no mating attempted there. So it's literally a friendship between those two. Cecil and Pippa, Again, because Pippa tends to strike at any bird that gets too close, Cecil's been staying away from her. He's approached her a couple of times just to kind of like try to preen her, and she won't let him do it. So, Cecil and Roman's doesn't react to Cecil, and Cecil doesn't react to Roman. It's almost as if they're not there. They could be within a foot of each other, and it's like there's nothing going on. So they really don't pay attention, and that's probably more Roman's fault than it is Cecil's. Cecil and Salamander, most of the time there's no issue. Once in a while, Cecil will look like he's going to get aggressive, but he hasn't yet. Cecil and Snowball, they have a friendship. They preen each other. Once in a while they preen each other a little too much. So they almost get into sexual situations, so you have to separate them. But most of the time they just preen. And they'll sit together and preen each other, and then they'll go off and do their own thing, and then they'll come back and sit next to each other. So it's a real friendly relationship, and most of the time that's what it is. They'll play. The only thing is if Cecil gets a toy in his beak, you've probably seen it in some of our videos, he'll start slamming it around in your face if he's up close to you. He'll also do the same with other birds, and he plays a little too hard. So if he starts playing like that, then Snowball will go and do something else, and I don't blame him. Cecil and Sugar. Cecil can get right up to Sugar, and there really isn't much of a reaction. I haven't seen her strike at him or try to threaten him away at all. Right, Coco? Right, what's the matter, Coco, baby girl? You okay? I'm not giving you enough attention. I'm sorry. We're doing a video, sweetheart. I can't help that. Can't help it. For those of you who try to take videos with cameras, with phones, keep in mind the iPhone 7 has an issue. If you run the video more than a half an hour, the color balance goes. I have no idea why. I don't know if it's just my phone, but that's what I see. So I try to get up about halfway through and shut it off and turn it back on so that the color balance will be better. I can fix it with software, but I try not to have to work too much like that. So, hey, watch it over there. Don't you do anything you're not supposed to. Okay, Chloe and Coco. They have a little rivalry. They can't really be in the same room together because Chloe will go directly after. Come on, you're hurting my arm. Get down. You're not going to do that because I know what you're trying to do. You're going to leave her alone. Right? So, Chloe and Coco. Chloe will generally go after Coco. So we don't have them in the room at the same time. If we do, it's a real crazy time, and I can do it, but you just have to keep going after Chloe and putting her back on the perch and telling her to sit there. She'll pay attention to you, and she'll try to hold back, and Coco won't usually start a problem, except if Chloe goes after Coco 3 or 4 times, then Coco's on. And once Coco starts going after a bird, Coco, she's relentless. So, and she's going to win because she's tough, aren't you, girl? She's a tough girl. Sweet, but tough. Chloe and Cause, there's no love lost between those two. Chloe generally doesn't like to be around other females of her species because she was mated to Snowball. And although that broke up because Snowball went into mate aggression, it left her with that, keep the other females away from my male. Well, that pretty much means whatever room she's in, she starts marking off her territory very quickly. Oh, yeah. I failed to mention with Cecil, his flock role is mediator. He tends to even relationships out. He tends to try to be the one who's the calm one in an argument. The only time that's different is when he's got a toy, and then he's the tormentor. And then that's his flock role. Reinforcers, he likes peanut butter. That's his number one reinforcer. And then he just likes to be held close to your face and spoken to.
He especially likes training. And he enjoys learning words and that kind of thing. So he's on his, fourth word now. So okay, back to Chloe. Chloe, let's see, her flock role is queen. She's the one that she believes she's in charge of everything. At least that's the way it looks, because when she's in the room, there are certain things she will allow and things she won't. And if someone does something she doesn't want her, if someone does something that sets her off, she'll fly right over and try to put an end to it. There are certain other birds that you can't have in the room without really being ready to jump and protect. Nobody's going to get hurt if you're alert, but you kind of have to know what you're doing when you have other birds that are her species and her sex in the room. Chloe and Lorelei, I went to get the only time I ever purchased a bird was I bought Lorelei when she was 3 months old from a breeder in Alpine, who later told me that she never takes her birds to the vet. Oh. All of her birds are also their weight, she said they're all small. Well, Lorelei weighs 600 and generally right around almost 700 grams. So the question there is she's not feeding her birds right and she's not letting them get the exercise they need. So, but anyway, Lorelei and Chloe had they had a close relationship up until the point where Chloe was mated to Snowball, and when that happened, she didn't want any more to do with Lorelei. And that's partially because Lorelei is, she's a young female, and Snowball was attracted to her. I don't think Snowball ever wanted to be away from Chloe, but when he started pulling her feathers out, there was not much else we could do. So Chloe and Lucy, again, it's another female umbrella. She doesn't want her in the room. You can do it. You can keep her up here on your shoulder, and then when Chloe comes to fly over to attack her, you can just take your hand and redirect Chloe, like push her off so that she has to fly around and she'll land on the perch. But you're spending most of your time watching for it. So, and even though during socialization we either have music on or a movie, I am keeping my eye on everything that's going on. So, the movie is more for Salamander than it is for me. Chloe and Peaches. Chloe used to be kind of pushy around Peaches, but she doesn't do that anymore. So Chloe can actually sit next to Peaches and there's no problem. Peaches doesn't think much of it. Do you, Peach? You didn't really like that. She doesn't like Chloe too close to her, but that's because Chloe used to try to push her off the couch. Chloe doesn't do that anymore.
Peaches is an amazing personality. Her daily maintenance requires dedication and mindfulness. She requires 2 forms of medicine, 7-course meals, and effort to entice her to eat. Extensive preening every day, special tools to trim nails, constant attention to her vocalizations, daily walks, and twice yearly checkups due to the possibility of impacted feather follicles and the nature of her spinal injuries. It seems a common misconception among the general public that parrots are like toys in a toy box. Nothing could be further from the truth. They are complex creatures. Recently, scientific studies have shown them to be at least as intelligent as chimpanzees. Every captive parrot needs special humans who will dedicate themselves to understanding them, those who know their species as it lives in the wild, special people that understand their social, mental, and physical needs. They need to be understood for what they are, and not as merely human companions, as circus performers to bring smiles. Peaches needs all this and more. She is our special girl. Will you help us care for Peaches? Please make a donation today at our website, chloesanctuary.org. That's spelled CHLOESANCTUARY.org. As a special thank you for your donation, we will joyfully send you a postcard with Peach's happy face.
Chloe and Pippa. Chloe doesn't want Pippa in the room, so again she'll try to push her out of the room. So if you've got Pippa in the room and you have other birds that are all they're all females. Now Pippa's not the same species. I'm not sure why that's the case, but she still wants her out of the room. She considers her a territorial threat, apparently. What are you doing? Did you go to the bathroom? You can get up on the perch if you have to go to the bathroom. Is that what you need to do? You want to go up there and go to the bathroom? You're not just going to sit up there and scream. If you got to go to the bathroom, I knew you needed to go. That's fine. That's fine. Chloe and Roman. There's no reaction. They could sit in the same cage and there wouldn't be a problem. You shouldn't keep birds in the same cage, but you could do that with them. For a short time, Roman's not going to react to her and she's not going to react to him. Not much of a relationship there, but again, there's nothing negative about it. Chloe and Salamander, again, there's not much of an interest at all. What are you doing up there? No, I don't want you going after her. Come here. You'll see me redirecting paws. Coco, you're going to start that screaming again. I'm going to get you down here. Come on. Coco. Now calm down. Calm down, baby. You know I love you. You'll see me redirecting her a lot. Coco, come on. And that's because she'll fly in the face of another bird. She's never hurt another bird. The only issue I have with that is that the other birds might hurt her. So she's just trying to push them out of her territory. And I'd say with her, most of the territory is me. She seems to be bonded to me. For the most part, I never touch her below the neck. When I'm doing videos, though, I never know what I'm going to do. Because my attention is being drawn in more than one direction. Chloe and Snowball. They used to be a number, but he got mate aggression, and that was that. They were a cute number, too. They were fun. They each had their little roles, and he doted on her all the time. He would protect her. Now it's just I have to keep them. They can be in the same room, but I can't allow them to get close to each other because he'll pull her feathers out right in front of you. So, and again, Chloe and Sugar, there's nothing there. Neither one seems to acknowledge the other. Coco and Kaz, they'll preen each. Yes, Kaz. Coco and Kaz will preen each other, and most of the time they get along. Lorelai, what are you doing? No, don't mess with the cameras. Lorelai, don't mess with the cameras, okay? Are you paying attention to me, or do I have to throw a toy at you? Throw a toy? Oh, you want to sit on the basket? I suppose you can do that. You want to sit on the basket over there? Just don't chew the drapes, okay? You can sit on the chair if you want to. Coco and Lorelai, they get along pretty well. No issues there. Right, Coco? They preen each other. Coco's her main role is her main role in the flock is overseer, making sure nothing is changed and we don't have any cameras up. Keeping track of what I'm doing and making sure that she gets petted. That seems to be... What, Peach? What, Peach? You just talking to Bob? Yeah. I know, he's crying. Her favorite reinforcers are papaya and pine nuts. Secondary reinforcer is getting her on your chest and petting her head. She loves that, don't you, little girl? You have to keep her away from the male umbrellas. She doesn't pay much attention to anybody else as far as trying to do mating behavior, but she will. If she's around males, she will. She's tough. If another bird tries to force her to do something, she's not going to give an inch. And she brings a lot with Lorelei and Cause. Don't you, girl? Her and Lucy don't have any kind of a relationship yet. Coco and Peaches, most of the time they just ignore each other. If Coco gets too close to Peach, Peach will back off. But there's not really much there as far as a relationship. Coco and Pippa, there's nothing established yet. I mean, Pippa's still new to the flock, so not much established there. And Pippa will try to push her away, but other than that, Coco doesn't pay much attention to her. Coco and Roman, they can sit in the same cage. Roman never approaches any females trying to mate with them, so they can just sit there. Roman doesn't like her on the top of his cage, though, so I have to watch carefully. If Coco is out flying around on cages, Roman generally doesn't leave his. Once in a while he comes out to chew on the doors, or to find something to chew on, but he doesn't like her up on top of the cage, so I have to make sure that Coco doesn't get her feet bitten. Coco doesn't realize she can fly, and right now she doesn't have full tail feathers. I had her in a small cage, and I was taking her to see a donor. She likes to go and see, and she had men in the smaller cage, and she just beat her tail up against the... No, you're not doing that. Excuse me, guys. I need to get a piece of paper. No, hold on. I'm not trying to pull your tail. I'm trying to get one of these. Sometimes this guy will try to eat poop, so I'm trying to make sure he doesn't. Okay. I'm sorry. Back up here. Hi, Sal. Coco and Sal, there's no issues between them. They can get up and sit next to each other. They don't preen each other, but they'll sit next to each other with no problems. Coco and Snowball, got to keep Snowball away from Coco. He'll try to mate with her. Coco and Sugar, nothing. And not unless you get within her 1 foot radius, and then she'll try to tell her to back off. But that's about all that happens. Causey and Lorelei. Cause chases Lorelei. So Lorelei right now is way over there, and part of the reason for that is Cause is close to me. She doesn't like to be around Cause because Cause chases her. And what's funny is Cause weighs about 420 grams, and she weighs almost 700. And that's mostly muscle because she flies so much. And she could easily overpower Cause, but she just has her convinced that she's protecting her territory, and Lorelei doesn't feel it's her territory, so she leaves. That's usually why they leave an area when another bird threatens them. It's because they are giving up territory they don't feel is theirs. Causey, her favorite thing to eat. She likes the muffins. Boy, the muffins I make, they're almond coconut muffins. There's no wheat in them. There's banana and there's apple and that kind of thing, but she loves those. That's her favorite thing. She also likes sunflower seeds, so if you're training her, sunflower seeds is what you use. Causey and Peaches. Cause can be a little pushy sometimes with Peaches, and so Peaches doesn't really want to be around Cause. That Cause has never hurt her or even threatened to hurt her. Cause and Pippa. Pippa just keeps Cause away from her. Causey and Roman. Cause will Cause won't approach Roman. Roman's not going to put up with any kind of threatening posture from her. And so Cause just stays away from him. Cause and Sal. Sal is just nervous about being around Cause. So generally he'll sit like he is there. He's sitting away from us. If I take Cause and put her farther away from me, he might come over and sit in my lap, but he won't do it when she's sitting in my lap. Cause and Snowball. Cause will try to mate with Snowball, so I have to keep those two separated. You never know. She might turn around and also chase him. Cause is one of those birds that kind of goes one way or the other. Her role in the flock is she's the wild card. Her role in the flock is she's the wild card. You never know if she's going to be nice or she's going to try to push you away. And that's how the other birds feel about it, right, Coco? Because sometimes she'll actually start bothering Coco, act like she's going to attack Coco, and then Coco just mows her down. She doesn't hurt her, but she just shoves her away. And when I catch that, I separate them. Because this one here can just kind of flip. She's our little psycho, but she's cute. Aren't you, girl? Yeah. And Cause and Sugar, nothing. They haven't ever established any kind of relationship, and I haven't seen anything happen between the two. They never seem to approach each other. So did I cover everything else about Cause? Secondary reinforcer, yeah, she likes to be petted on the head and spoken to, don't you, baby? That's your favorite secondary reinforcer. Lorelei. Lorelei and Lucy, they just stay away from each other. No relationship there yet. And Lorelei's role in here is she's the teacher. She teaches other birds to fly and to preen. And she's also the one who gives the first notice if something changes in the room. Coco will tell you that there's a problem, but Lorelei will get to it first. So Coco will, if you put the cameras up, within a minute or two she'll start rah, rah, rah. If you put the cameras up, Lorelei's checking out each one to see what's going on. So Lorelei and Peaches, they just stay away from each other. They don't seem to have any kind of negative behavior patterns between each other. They just don't pay attention to each other. Pippa, there's nothing there yet. Lorelei hasn't approached Pippa, and Pippa's not gotten close to Lorelei. Lorelei and Roman, she has tried to teach him to preen, but he doesn't want to do it. He's not interested in preening. So there's not much there, but she could actually sit close to him and he won't react. Lorelei and Salamander, they don't really have a relationship, but they don't have a problem. So Lorelei could get fairly close to him. He won't react to it. And she won't do anything to him. And so it's just your basic standoff. Lorelei and Snowball, again, the mating problems. You got to keep them separated for that. They do get along, though, a little too well. Lorelei and Sugar, there's not much between Lorelei and Sugar. Lorelei could fly up there, but she won't. Lorelei, why are you pulling your feathers out? Lorelei, what are you doing? What you doing? What you doing? Beautiful. You guys are awful quiet, except for you today. And you're not quiet, but now she's playing finally. Okay, next line. Lucy. Lucy, what am I going to say about Lucy Lou? What's your flock role? Yeah, she's the one hiding in the shadows. She likes to get up on my shoulder or sit on my chest, one or the other. She prefers to just kind of sit quietly and watch everything. She hasn't developed any relationships with the other birds yet. She does have one with Roman. That's because they were housed in the same facility. So Roman and her get along. Roman's gone over to her cage a few times, and Lucy's fine with that. Roman never approaches any other bird, of his species or not, for mating purposes, though. He's an asexual. He has no interest in that. What's your favorite reinforcer? She likes papaya and sunflower seeds. She also likes pine nuts, but unfortunately she eats them whole, so you have to give her ones that are not in the shell. No, you're not going under there. I'm sorry. No. No. What are you doing? Come out of there. Come here. You know better than that. You can't go under the couch. There's a few wires under there, and I don't want you under the couch. Nope. She doesn't normally do that, so I'm surprised she tried. And this one will hiss at other birds if they get too close, generally. She stares at them a lot, too. And she doesn't preen with any other birds yet. She still needs more work done on her beak, and I've been working on it now for a long time. The bottom half is okay. This top half is still long, and you can't chop it all down at once. Between me and Dr. Young, we've knocked off about 3/4 of an inch on that. But she still needs to have her beak trimmed down and to a point. Lucy and Peaches, don't have a relationship. Lucy and Pippa, Lucy will just try to push Pippa away. Pippa will be interested in her, and that will last a short period of time, because when she gets close to Lucy, Lucy will do her usual lean over and hiss. Lucy and Roman, they have a relationship. And that's because they were housed together. Lucy and Salamander, there's nothing there, no relationship. Lucy and Snowball, again, Lucy just wants to stay away from the other birds right now. Lucy and Sugar, nothing, no relationship there. Peaches and Pippa, they haven't shown any reaction to each other at all yet. Again, these are, Pippa's a new bird here, so. Peaches and Roman, they don't really ever get in the same spot together, so there's nothing going on there. Peaches and Salamander, she shows a little interest in Salamander, and Salamander shows a little interest in her, but they've never even shown any interest in mating. Their night cages are next to each other, so there's a little bit of communication there. Peaches and Snowball, Peaches would prefer Snowball not to get close to her. But I've not seen Snowball do any attacks on her. He's been fine with her so far. I still keep an eye on him because he does have mate aggression. She's not his mate, but she is female. Oh, there we go. Salamander's going to get up on her perch. You would think that she likes having another, a male of her species around, but not particularly. Pippa and Roman, nothing. They haven't even had a chance to get next to each other, except for one thing. Because their cages are next to each other in the main bird room, Roman has tried to get to her, and I think he wants to bite her, but he can't get to her. So the cages are separated enough where he can get over there and look at her, and it doesn't look terribly positive, but they haven't had a chance to interact, so it's hard to tell what's going on. Pippa's favorite reinforcer seems to be sunflower seeds. Pippa's kind of aggressive. She picks up territoriality pretty fast. If she's sitting in an area for a while, she'll start to defend it. Pippa and Salamander, they haven't reacted to each other. Pippa and Snowball, nothing yet, no reaction. Pippa and Sugar, nothing. Again, she's new, so this is new. Roman and Salamander, nothing. They've never really approached each other. Roman and Snowball. Roman would prefer Snowball's not around, but there's no general threats. If Snowball gets too close to Roman, then Roman will make an aggressive lunge, but he never tries to actually bite him. He's just trying to get him out of his territory. Roman and Sugar. There's nothing there. They've never really had anything together, so they've never been close to each other. Because Roman tends to not come out of his cage. He'll come out and wander around a bit, and he goes back in his cage, and that's about it. He used to come in here, but he always hid behind my neck, and he was just afraid. So I'm keeping him out of those situations and letting him wander in the main bird room when he wants to. Salamander and Snowball. Snowball, originally, what are you doing? Yeah, well, don't get her mad now. You're getting a little. See, she started to play over here, so she's getting a little territorial. You don't need to do that to Peach. No, you don't. You're a good girl. So Salamander, Snowball. Snowball started going after Salamander, and the nice thing about Snowball, though, is if you tell him no, he'll stop. So he does, and that's worked out just fine. Now they can be pretty close. They can be within about 2 feet, and there's no issue. I just have to keep my eye on Snowball and tell him to behave, and everything's fine. Salamander and Sugar. As you can see, Salamander's over there close to Sugar, but Sugar's body language is like, okay, I wish you'd get off my perch. And the last one is Snowball and Sugar. Snowball will get on her perch and try to climb up, and she will tell him to go away. She'll start off being gentle about it. She'll turn and put her feathers on her head up, and she'll look at him, and then she'll make a slight lunging motion, and he'll just ignore her, and he'll keep trying to get closer and closer to her. Eventually, she'll have a full display on and telling him to leave, and then I have to take him away. But he's never lunged at her or tried to hurt her. Let's see. Salamander's favorite rewards. You know, what do you like to be rewarded with, Salamander? He says, well, I like papaya. That's his favorite reward. And as far as secondary rewards, he likes to be petted. Snowball. And he likes to be spoken to nicely as well. Snowball's, and Sal's role in this thing is, Sal, what's your role? The bird that tries to hide in plain sight, isn't it? Roman's role is he's the secret agent because he tends to just kind of stay in the shadows all the time. Snowball's role is instigator and preener, and his favorite rewards are sunflower seeds. That's an easy one. Most of them like sunflower seeds, but so many times people have said, you birds get along, but as you can tell by, after I went through this entire list, you can tell that it's a constant flux. Now, the chart, which I'm putting up on the screen here, get down. Get down. Good boy. That's good boy. Get down. You don't belong up there. Good boy, Salamander. And people say that your birds are so, they say that our birds are so well behaved. Well, it's a constant thing. The chart that you see here has changed over time. You have birds that were like this one. She came here, she was retiring and quiet and basically didn't ask for much. Now she's demanding, vocal, and just a lot of fun to have around, aren't you? Although right now, as you can see, with Peach is wavering back and forth, she's like, get her away from me. Although Coco's not going to do anything. No, she's being good. I think we've run this a little over long, so I'm going to have to say goodbye to everybody. You want to say goodbye? Who wants to say goodbye? Cause you haven't said goodbye in a while. Say goodbye. Say goodbye to the people. Bye. We'll see you next time. We welcome your feedback on our videos. We look forward to your insights, tips, questions, stories, and pictures. You can email us at cockatude@chloesanctuary.org, reach us on Twitter @Chloe Sanctuary, and join with us on our Facebook Chloe Sanctuary page.
Science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.